You know, in the world of waste management, a perfect storm is brewing. We've got tough new environmental laws colliding with some seriously smart AI, and it is forcing a massive radical transformation. So today, we're going to dive into how one company, 95 Wood, is taking a regulatory crisis and turning it into a high-tech, high-value opportunity.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, the big problem, Ontario's waste cliff. Then, the solution, the digital refinery. We'll look at the AI that makes it all tick, see how it turns fees into real money, and finally, explore what this all means for the future with something called policy as code. For waste haulers in Ontario, the world as they know it is, well, it's basically ending. A whole wave of new regulations is making the old way of doing business, just picking up waste and dumping it, completely obsolete. This isn't about growth anymore. For a lot of these folks, it's purely about survival.
And here it is. This is the hammer that's about to drop, a brand new circular economy levy. We're talking a penalty of up to $60 for every single ton of mixed waste that ends up in a landfill. If your business model is just dump and tip, this isn't just a fee, it's a potential death sentence.
And look, the clock is ticking, and it is ticking fast. By January 2026, boom, cities are out of the commercial recycling game. A few months later, that $60 levy hits. Then, by 2029, you can't even landfill clean wood anymore. It's a total burn the boats moment for the whole industry. You either adapt or you fail. Simple as that. But you know what they say about a crisis, right? It creates massive opportunity. And that's where 905 Wood comes in. See, they're not just another hauler. They looked at this regulatory cliff, and instead of a threat, they saw an opening to build something completely different, a digital refinery. This quote just nails the mindset shift. The game isn't about hauling trash anymore. It's about processing data. What used to be a pile of worthless construction debris, well, now it's a high-fidelity data stream full of valuable information just waiting to be unlocked. And you can really see the difference side by side here. The old model, it was all about logistics. Wood was just a liability you had to get rid of. The whole process was chaotic, and the only goal was disposal. The new model, the digital refinery model from folks like Mike Atkinson at 95 Wood, it's all about data. That same wood becomes a verifiable asset. The process becomes incredibly precise, and the goal, it shifts from just disposal to monetization. It's a whole new world. So, how does a digital refinery actually work? What's the secret sauce, the technology that's making all this happen? Let's pop the hood and look at the anatomy of their incredible AI gatekeeper. Think of their intake process as like airport security for lumber. It all happens in 3 quick critical steps. First, there's an incredibly fast visual scan right on a mobile device. If anything looks off, it gets moved to a much deeper sensor scan. And the whole thing wraps up with an automated legally sound certificate. Okay, this is where it gets really cool. The tech is just amazing. A lightweight AI model classifies an entire load of wood in under 2 seconds. On a phone. Now, if the AI flags any contamination or, and this is a really important safety feature they call the precautionary principle, if the wood comes from a demolition site, it's always flagged for a deeper scan. That's when they bring out the XRF sensors. Think of them like X-rays for materials to find invisible poisons like arsenic and chromium. And here's the absolute key. The system's decisions aren't just smart, they are legally bulletproof. It uses an AI technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. The best way to think about it is an AI that actually does its homework. It doesn't just guess. It literally reads and cites the specific environmental law, Ontario Regulation 347, to automatically generate certificates that are totally audit-proof. This is what policy as code looks like. So, this technology is obviously fascinating, but let's talk about the bottom line. How does this actually make money? This is where the whole thing pivots and turns a punishing regulation into a powerful, profitable advantage. This table shows off this powerful idea they call decoupled billing. So in both models, the client pays a fixed fee for the truck and the bin, right? But that second line, that's the absolute game changer. A traditional hauler has to pass on that massive $60 per ton levy to their client. But with 905 Wood's model, because the AI instantly verifies the load is clean and properly diverted, that levy just vanishes. It drops to zero. Gone. And just avoiding fees, that's only the beginning. The system actually creates brand new ways to make money from what everyone else calls waste. Through a process called agile pyrolysis, the AI decides in real time whether to make biochar for farming or bio-oil for industry based on whatever is selling for more that day. On top of that, it generates and sells valuable carbon dioxide removal certificates. It literally turns a disposal cost into a carbon dividend.
Okay, so let's zoom out for the last big piece of the puzzle here. What does this one company's story tell us about the future? Well, this new model is a huge paradigm shift, something we can really call policy as code.
Look, this was never just a story about recycling wood. It's a blueprint for the future of basically all industrial compliance. This model gets rid of the slow, messy, chaotic world of manual audits and replaces it with automated, verifiable, and legally grounded trust that is literally baked right into the software.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question. We've just seen how a powerful mix of AI and regulatory pressure can turn the entire waste management industry into a revenue engine. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Which industry is next?